completed two types of constructors, which is default constructor and parameterized, if you remember. Fine. So now tell me if you have any doubt.
સર એકવાર પેરામીટરાઇઝ કન્સ્ટ્રક્ટર રિપીટ એકવાર એક એક્ઝામ્પલ સાથે.
Yes, what was the question?
સર પેરામીટરાઇઝ કન્સ્ટ્રક્ટર એક એક્ઝામ્પલ સાથે સમજાવશો?
Sure, we will revise that also. But yeah, before starting, tell me what points we were discussing about constructor. Anyone? The question is open to all. Regarding constructors, we have discussed many points, so I want to revise all the points. So is there anyone who is able to recall it? Anyone?
સર કેન આઈ?
Yeah.
સર પહેલા તો આપણે એમ ડિસ્કસ કર્યું હતું કે કન્સ્ટ્રક્ટર નો યુઝ શું છે, કે જે કોઈ પણ ડેટા ટાઈપ હોય એને વેલ્યુ આપવા માટે, કોઈ પણ ડેટા જે કાંઈ સ્ટોર કરેલો છે ક્લાસમાં એને વેલ્યુ આપવા માટે યુઝ થાય. પછી એનો નામ છે એ ક્લાસમાં છે એને જ હોય, પછી એને કોલ કરવાની જરૂર ન પડે. ઓબ્જેક્ટ ક્રિએટ કરીએ એટલે ત્યારે ને ત્યારે કોલ થઈ જાય. અને પછી આપણે પેરામીટરાઇઝ કન્સ્ટ્રક્ટર જોયા હતા. પછી આપણે કન્સ્ટ્રક્ટર ની અંદર બીજો કન્સ્ટ્રક્ટર ટ્રાય કર્યો હતો જેમાં આપણે એરર આવી હતી નેસ્ટેડમાં. અને બસ આટલી વસ્તુ હતી.
કરેક્ટ.
પેરામીટરાઇઝ માં ડિફોલ્ટ કન્સ્ટ્રક્ટર ને ઓલે આપવું જરૂરી છે.
Correct. So all the points are valid. See, we were discussing regarding constructors, like whenever we want to initialize certain values to any variables, then always we can go for constructor, which will simply initialize the value of any variable. And to define the constructor, we need to follow certain rules, like name of the constructor must have same name, whatever name is there with the class name. So class name and constructor name will be same. Then there are certain rules also while defining constructor, which we need to follow. Like constructor will not have any return type. We don't need to call it explicitly. As soon as we create the object, it will call the constructors. Fine. So those rules you need to remember. And then we were discussing about both the types. Actually, there are three types. First one is default constructor, then parameterized constructor, and last one is copy constructor. If I talk about default constructor, then you can say whenever while creating object, if we don't pass any parameters, if we don't pass any value, in that case it will always call the default constructor. And in your program, if you have implemented it, then it will surely call that constructor. But if you have not implemented it, then also it is optional. Fine. And that example we have seen, if you remember, default constructor is not compulsory to implement. If you have implemented, it will execute it. But if it is not implemented, then also it is fine. It will not give any compilation error if you are using default constructor alone. But whenever you use default constructor with parameterized, fine, whenever you use default constructor with parameterized constructor, then it is compulsory to implement all the constructors, whether it is default or parameterized. Are you getting this concept?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So as you have said, you want to revise parameterized, so don't worry, we will revise both the things within 4 to 5 minutes. So now let me share my screen. Yeah. So now let me just create one class for copy constructor, so that I don't need to create the extra class. Later on in the same program, I will modify the code for copy constructor as well. As of now, we are not going to implement copy constructor. I'm going to revise default and parameterized. I'm just giving different name. Now let me define main method. And now what I'm doing, let me just define one more class. Let's say class demo. Inside this class, let me define one constructor which is default, as this constructor is not having any parameter. Let me print something. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So now what we will do, to call this constructor, as I said, we don't need to call it manually. Each and every constructor will get execution automatically as soon as we will create the object. And here you can see there is no return type, and name of this constructor and class name both are same. You can see class name is demo, constructor name is also demo. So those rules you need to remember. Now what I'm doing, I'm just creating the object of class demo. Let's say demo ob equal to new demo. And while creating object, if you can see, I'm not passing any parameter. Fine. So what does it mean? Whenever I will create an object of any class, it will call the appropriate constructor. Appropriate meaning, while creating object, if I am not giving any parameters, if I am not giving any value, in that case it will go to class demo. It will try to find the constructor where there is no parameter. So in this case the constructor is defined, so compiler will identify this constructor and it will execute this. So this statement will get execution and we will get default constructor is called as an output, and this is what we will get. But if you don't define it, then also it is fine, as it is default. Default constructor is included in each and every class automatically. Even though if it is not implemented, it is fine. So now, even though I have removed this, and if I will try to compile this file, I will not get any compilation error. Let me just save this file.
સર
Yes,
વેઇટિંગ લોબી માંથી એડ કરી દેજો ને.
I have already added. Now there is no student.
પાર્થ માદરિયા પાર્થ.
No, he is not there, because from my mobile I'm admitting all the people. As of now, there is no student who is waiting. So ask him to join again.
ઓકે સર.
Yeah. Now let me save this file with copy constructor.java, and let me open command prompt. cd desktop, inside desktop Java programs, and now I'm going to compile this file. Syntax is Java C, then copy constructor.java, and you can see I'm not getting any error, and there is no compilation error, just because I have created an object, and as soon as I will create the object, it will call the constructor. But as I said, as of now this constructor is default one, because while creating object I am not passing any parameters, so it will call default constructor. And for default constructor, if it is not specified, then also it is going to be valid way. By default constructor is included in each and every class. So it will go inside this class and it will assume that constructor is there where there is nothing, where there is no logic. So it will not execute anything, and you will not get any output. So when I will compile this file as an output, I will not get anything. You can see. Is it fine?
सर अगर आप एक और ऑब्जेक्ट बनाओगे उसके बाद भी फर्क नहीं पड़ता.
Okay. Yeah, then also it is fine. There is no difference. I can create n number of objects. Every time it will call the default constructor. Fine. If I write like this, demo ob1 equal to new demo, in that case also it will go to class demo and it will try to find a default one, which is there automatically. It is there even though we have not implemented it here. You can see I'm not getting any error, and at the same time I will not get any output also. So any doubt in default constructor?
No, sir.
No sir.
Yeah, so now
No,
you
sir.
can see I have implemented this one. can anyone tell me what will be the output of this program? When I will execute this file, what will be the output?
सर 2 बार लिखा आएगा डिफॉल्ट कंस्ट्रक्टर इज कॉल्ड डिफॉल्ट कंस्ट्रक्टर इज
Yes, sir.
कॉल्ड.
Correct. First
हाँ
time
सर
when I am
तेरा
creating an object, it will call the default one. I will get this statement. Second time again I am creating an object with same parameter, I mean no parameter. So it will again try to call the default one and we will get this statement. Right. So now let me just compile it. And let us run this file. And as you said, I'm getting default constructor is called twice. Right? Because I'm just creating object twice. Is it fine? So this is all about default constructor. So you don't need to specify it. If you wish and if you want to assign certain things while creating object and while passing no parameter, in that case you can implement it, but it is not compulsory. If you don't implement it, then also it will compiler will assume that inside this class demo default constructor is there. So it is not compulsory. Now let me talk about parameterized. So in case of parameterized constructor, what you can do? Again, you can define constructor, but now instead of empty parenthesis, you need to give certain parameters. I can give one parameter, I can give two parameters, 3, 4, 5. It is up to you. But if any constructor is having parameter, then that constructor is known as parameterized constructor. That's the only thing. If constructor is having no argument, it means it is default. If constructor is having any parameter, it means it is parameterized constructor. So now, for example, here I'm specifying one parameter. At the same time, I can have one more constructor. Let's say demo. It may have two parameters. Even data types could be different. It is up to you what data types you want to keep. And let me just copy this statement and let us print everywhere. Here, let's say one parameter. And here, let me go with two parameters. Now, only thing to call this constructor is while creating object, I need to pass appropriate parameters. That's the only requirement. And so instead of this, what I will do here, I will pass one value to call the constructor which is having one parameter. And similarly, I will create one more object where I will pass two values like this. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so it is very simple. I have
yes
created
sir
three objects, and in each object you can see just a minute. Yeah, so in each constructor you can see while creating object I am passing no parameter, I am passing one value and I am passing two values. So accordingly it will go to the appropriate constructor and it will execute that constructor only. So during the first object it will go to the default one, it will print this statement, then again it will come back here. Here you can see I am passing one parameter, I mean one value. So it will go to the constructor where there is one parameter. We'll execute all the statements which are inside this constructor. So as of now there is only one statement. So it will print one parameter constructor is called. Again it will go here. Here I'm passing two values. It will go to third constructor and it will execute this one. Let me just save this file, compile it. And let me run this file. You can see I am getting three statements. Default constructor is called, one parameter and two parameter constructor is called. Any doubt? So this is all about parameterized constructor where constructor will have various parameters. So as per your need, you can pass the values, you can call the constructors, you can initialize the values, you can put your logic, you can do so many things with the constructors. But the only thing is the beauty of constructor is you don't need to call it. As soon as you will create the object, it will call it automatically. Yeah, any doubt about parameterized constructor?
नो सर
सर एक चीज थी, अगर आप आगे से डेमो वो भी हटा दो,
Sorry?
एक बार सर आप ऊपर करो ना जरा इसे.
Yeah.
अगर सर आप ये OB1 OB2 वाले हटा दो
ओके
और सर एक ही डिफॉल्ट कंस्ट्रक्टर को ही कॉल करो, बट आगे डेमो OB भी मत लिखो।
यू आर सेइंग दैट आई नीड टू रिमूव दिस।
हाँ सर, ये भी निकाल दीजिए और नीचे जो इसके पैरामीटर लिखे ना INTA और AB वाले, इन दोनों को भी हटा दो सर।
Okay, then let's say I have removed it. Then what to do?
सर अब ऊपर जाओ जरा, ये डेमो OB इक्वल टू लिखा है ना फर्स्ट लाइन
Yes.
वाला,
Yes,
सर
yes.
इसको भी हटा दो, सिर्फ
ये
न्यू
वाला,
डेमो रखो। हाँ सर,
ये वाला, like this.
इक्वल टू भी हटा दो। अभी सर कॉल करो तो अभी भी हो रहा है।
Yeah, see, I am creating the object, but I am not assigning this value anywhere. Now let
तो
me
सर
just. You can see, and it calls the. So as of now, I'm creating the object, but I am not assigning that object to any variable, or we can say any object. I am just creating the object.
ओके सर, और ये सेम चीज अगर OB1 OB2 के साथ भी करोगे बट आगे नहीं लगाओगे तो नहीं होगा
Correct.
ना सर?
Correct, correct.
होगा।
So ultimately, whenever you use new keyword with any class, it means you are creating object. So for simplicity, we are assigning that value to any object like this, so that as and when needed, we can refer this object. See, if you will do like this, then you cannot call the method directly. For example, inside this demo class, let me define one method, public void print. Now my question is, I want to call this method. What will you do? You need to call this method using object. Are you getting me?
हाँ सर।
But that also you can do. See, in that case, what you can do, as soon as you create the object, so ultimately this is the object. So after object, the syntax is object dot method name. So I can do like this also. Let me see. And you can see, but as of now there is nothing. Now let me just put one statement in method also, so that you will come to know that the method is getting accessible. Method is called. Let me compile it again, execute it, and you can see method is called. And so only thing is we are using this value just because we know that using which object we are trying to call the method. That's why. Otherwise, by this also you can call the method. After all, this is an object.
तो सर ये OB1 और OB2 को तो कॉल करेगा नहीं ना जब आपने पैरामीटराइज्ड में रखा होगा?
No, no. In that case, what it will do here, while creating object, we need to pass value. The
मतलब
way
सर
I
ऐसे बोल रहा हूँ, न्यू डेमो 10
yes,
फिर न्यू
new
डेमो
demo 10. So
10
in
को?
that case, if I write new demo 10, in that case it will go here, and it will execute this.
ठीक है सर, समझ गया मैं।
And so both the things are same. The only thing is way of writing the code is different. So this is known as a programmer's code, and whatever I had written, it was the beginner code. This is the beginner code. Later on, when you will have a strong grip on programming languages, mostly you will do like this only. New demo, you will write 10. If there are method, let's say display, you will call the method like this. So within one statement, you will combine everything. Here I am going with two different statements. I will do like this, ob1 dot display. Fine. First I am creating the object, and then using object I am accessing this method.
बट सर नीचे वाला जो है उसमें तो सिर्फ एक ही ऑब्जेक्ट बनेगा ना तब तो?
Yes, yes, correct.
ठीक है सर, समझ
So
गया।
using that object only you can do whatever you want. And in this case I can say I have created 3 objects. Actually here also new object is created, but you don't know what is the name of that object. Ultimately object is created, but you don't have specific name. While in this case you have specific name. This was for OB, this is for OB1, this is OB2, like that. Is it fine?
Yes sir.
Okay, great. So as of now, let me just remove this again to make it simple. So this was all about default and parameterized constructor. Now we are going to discuss copy constructor, which is again very important. So do you have any idea about copy constructor? Like if we want to learn the concept of copy constructor, what is your thinking? What should happen here and what we are going to do? Name says everything.
सर इतना मुझे पता है कि अगर क्लास में कंस्ट्रक्टर नहीं होता तो डिफॉल्ट और कॉपी दो बनते हैं, कंपाइलर दो बनाता।
Correct. Okay. Then what else?
उसके बाद का मैं भूल गया सर।
Okay, fine. So default constructor is this, which we have already discussed, and this is parameterized. Now we are going to discuss copy constructor. It means we are going to copy the object. Let's say using this ob1 I have created one constructor, using ob2 I have created another constructor. So today we are going to copy one of the object and we will create one more constructor where we will just try to copy this reference. Object means ultimately it's a kind of reference, if you remember. Let me just print the value of ob. You will come to know what ob will give. System.out.println. If I print ob, what do you think? What will be the output? What do you
न्यू
think?
डेमो देगा।
No. See, I have created object where object name is ob,
default.
and now I am going to access or I am going to print the value of ob. So ob is nothing but a kind of address. You can see demo@28A418FC. This is what I got. So it's a kind of address. As soon as I will create the object, it will occupy memory and block will be generated inside the memory. So now in that block only, whatever variables I am initializing, it will occupy the memory in that block only. Are you getting me? So what I'm saying, let me just demonstrate it. So it is like this. For example, I am having three memory location. Let's say this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. For example, this address is 1000. Let's say this is 2000 and this is 3000. Fine. So now using this object, whenever I will store the value of any variable, let's say in this memory block I have stored one value which is a, and value is, let's say, 10. One more variable is let's say this is b is equal to 20. Here also it could be same variable, it could be different. Let's say a is equal to 30, b is equal to 40, something like this. And here let me go with another variable. M is, let's say, 50 and n is 60. So what does it mean? I can say variables a and b where the value is 10 and 20, it is stored at location 1000. So the base address will be 1000. So this value 10 is stored in 1000. Then let's say each integer will occupy 4 bytes. So at 1004 the variable b is stored. Are you getting this concept? Yes or no?
नो सर, समझा नहीं मैं।
Again I am repeating it. See, for this memory block, starting address is 1000. What does it mean? Whatever variables I will store here in this memory address, it will have starting address 1000. And in Java, we know for each integer value, it will reserve 4 bytes. Are you aware about this?
यस सर।
Yeah. So here I am having two variables. It means total 8 bytes will be reserved for using both the variables. Is it fine?
यस सर।
4 bytes for A, 4 bytes for B. So for A, starting address would be 1000. So it will be like this. Let me just divide it. As of now, there are two variables. So starting address is 1000, and for second variable, which is B, it will be 1004, something like this. So A would be here and B would be in the second block. So actually it is not like this, but I'm just explaining it. Oops.
समझ गया सर आप क्या कह रहे हो।
Like this. So I can say if I want to store 10, then it will be stored at 1000. If I want to store B, it will be stored at 1004. Same way, if I have one more variable, let's say C is 30, it will be stored at 1008. So likewise, all the elements are getting stored in sequential manner. And so it will reserve appropriate bytes. If it is integer, it will reserve 4 bytes. Accordingly, if it is different data type, then it will occupy the memory accordingly. It depends on the data type, which kind of data you are going to store. Fine. So same way here also, the variable A will have starting address 2000, variable B will have starting address 2004, and it will go again. Similarly for here, 50 will be stored at 3000, 60 will be stored at 3004. Is it fine? Are you getting this concept?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So now what we are going to do, so whatever address I have specified 1000, that is your object, that is your reference. Here you can see I am getting demo@28A418FC. So this is your address. So instead of 1000, it would be 28A418FC, something like this. So whenever I try to print ob.a, if I write here ob.a, what it will do? It will first try to identify what is ob. Ob is 1000, so it will give 1000.a. What does it mean? At 1000, whatever value is there with variable a, it will display that value. So I will get 10. Now this is another address 2000, so it is not ob, it would be ob1. Let's say it is ob1, because while creating object, if you remember, we are creating different objects, we are giving different names. Now ob1 is having different address. Let me just compile it so that you will get a clear understanding. Let me print ob1 also. Sorry, you can see, is it the same address?
Nahi.
Yeah, so I am getting different address as I have mentioned here also. This is 1000, this is 2000, so both the objects are having different address. So whenever I refer ob1.a, fine, whenever I refer ob1.a, in that case it will not go to this value, it will not go for 10, it will try to find the value of ob1, which is 2000. 2000.a, it will refer 30, and likewise we will get this value. So whenever we want to print any variable using object, this is how the things are happening in the background. जब यहाँ पे हम लिखते हैं system.out.println ob1.a, fine, for example, if I, as of now I don't have any variables, otherwise I can define few variables here. Let's say integer a is 100 and b is 200. If I want to refer this value, if I want to print this value, I need to create object of class demo, because the variables are part of this demo class. So you can say I am having the variables ob, I am having the objects ob, ob1, ob2, where all the objects are of this class only, same class. So using any of the object, I can display this value. If I write ob.a, what do you think? What will be the output for this one?
100 आएगा.
Correct. So you can see I am getting 100. फाइन. तो यहाँ पे मेरा कंसेप्ट ये है कि जब मैंने ऑब्जेक्ट क्रिएट किया, इस ऑब्जेक्ट की वजह से मैं वैल्यू को एक्सेस करता हूँ. सो नाउ इन कॉपी कंस्ट्रक्टर व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू डू, we will just try to copy this address. I will create the object, but while creating object we will not pass any value, we will pass the object itself. तो मैं ऐसा करूंगा कि यहाँ पे 2000 के पास कोई कुछ है ही नहीं. फाइन, यहाँ पे कुछ है ही नहीं. लेट्स से there is no variable, but I want to access the values of a and b using this address. So in that case what I can do, I can copy this address. यहाँ पे जो एड्रेस है वो इसको मैं दे दूं, तो मैं ऐसा बोल सकता हूँ कि now whenever I refer ob, or if I refer ob1, at both the times it will try to refer the same value. Are you getting me? अभी मुझे a और b को एक्सेस करना है, तो मुझे यही एड्रेस चाहिए 1000. Using 2000 I cannot access this. But now what I will do, I will just copy this address to 2000 also. So in that case I can say 1000 is having two entries. One is here and second copy is here. So using both the copies I can access the same variables. This is what we are going to do. And that concept is known as copy constructor. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so ultimately what we are going to do, we are just trying to copy the value of object. And instead of passing parameters, we will pass object. In that case, we will say we are just copying this object. Now let me just explain what we are going to do. So in case of copy constructor, what we will do, let me just remove unnecessary things to avoid confusion. Sorry. Just a minute. I'm having too cold, that's why I'm suffering. Yeah, so now let me just write OB here. Let me remove this. Now my question is, let me remove parameterized constructor and method. Nothing is needed. So as of now in class demo, I am having two variables A and B, and I'm having default constructor. Now my question is, if I write system dot out dot println, if I will print ob dot a, what will be the output? What do you think? What will be the output for this program?
सर एक बार डिफॉल्ट कंस्ट्रक्टर आपने प्रिंट करा वो होगा, फिर 100 और 200.
Okay, so how many of you are agree with this answer? Jatin is saying it will print default constructor is called, then it will print 100 and 200.
Yes, sir. Agree.
Agree?
Yes.
Okay, correct. Let me just compile it. So I'm getting default constructor is called then 100 and 200. So you are correct. Now what I'm going to do, I will create one more object. Let's say demo ob1 equal to new demo. And while creating object, I am not going to pass any value here, but instead I want to copy this address. मुझे क्या करना है, अभी एड्रेस को कॉपी करना है. It could be anything. It could be 1000, 2000, 4000, whatever. Fine, or it may have any different address like this, demo at the 28F418FC. So ultimately I want to copy that object so that using ob1 also I can refer the same variable. So what I will do, I will write ob1 here, ob here. So ultimately I am just passing the object. I am copying this value ob into ob1. Otherwise ob1 will have different address. Both the address will be different. Earlier ob and ob1 is having different address. If you remember, let me just print it again so that you can recall it. If I print ob, then I will get different address, and if I print ob1, then also I will get different address. You can see both the address are different. Now what I want to do, I want to go with same address. So in ob1 also I want to go with this address only. Then and only then I can access both the values. Fine. तो यहाँ पे मैं क्या करता हूँ, instead of parameters I will pass ob. So again the concept is very simple. Whenever we will create the object, it will call the constructor. So what do you think? This time also I am creating an object, so it should have appropriate constructor, isn't it? Here also I am creating an object. So while creating object, whatever we pass, but it will call the constructor. So what do you think? Do we need any extra constructor in this class demo?
सर इस कंस्ट्रक्टर में हमें आर्ग्यूमेंट करना लगाना पड़ेगा वो
Correct.
ऑब्जेक्ट लगा.
Ultimately we need to define one more constructor. Fine. Yes or no?
सर क्योंकि ये पैरामीटराइज्ड हो गया इसलिए.
No, it is not parameterized. Parameters are not there. Object is there, which is not known as parameter.
कॉपी कंस्ट्रक्टर हो गया.
Fine. So what we will do, we will create one more constructor here, demo And every time if you have noticed, it depends on the parameter. Whatever parameters we pass here, accordingly we need to have appropriate constructors. Here there is no parameter, so here also I am not passing anything. If I pass 10, then to store this 10 value, we will have one parameter like this. So my point is, whatever value we pass, to store that value we need to have appropriate things in the parenthesis. Are you getting this concept?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, whatever we pass as a value, to store that value we need to have appropriate things in the parenthesis. Then and only then it can store the value. So if it is empty, I don't need to write anything. I can go with empty. Here there is nothing, but in this case ob is there. So now to store this ob, I need to have something in this parenthesis. Then and only then it can store the value. So my question is, what should I write here in the second constructor so that it can store
Object.
this ob?
Object create करना.
Correct. ob is the object. ob is the object. So I cannot write integer a. Are you getting me? I cannot write like this.
Hmm.
Why? Because ob is not value, it is an object, and to store object we need object only. तो यहाँ पे मुझे एक temporary object create करना पड़ेगा. And in Java, whenever you want to create temporary object, what you can do? You can simply create the temporary object using class name, the way you were doing in C++, class name and reference variable, if you remember. So I can write demo, and let's say my object is reference ref. I can write anything. It is up to you. You can write ob3, you can write your name, you can write ref. So now I can say this ob could be stored in ref, because ref is also having data type which is demo. ob is also object of class demo, which is also having same data type. Are you getting me? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the main focus is you need to remember that whatever you pass here, to store those values, appropriate things must be there. If it is integer value, integer parameter is needed. If it is string value, string parameter is needed. If it is object, then object is needed. So here I have just created one temporary object, class name which is demo, ref which is object. So ob will be stored in ref. What does it mean? Whatever I was doing using ob, same thing I can do with ref also. Yes or no?
Yes.
सर ये डेमो आरईएफ एक टाइप का फेक टाइप बन जाएगा उसका.
Yeah, it's a kind of object only. ref is also object, but it's a temporary object.
ओके
It
सर,
will
तो
not,
उसके लिए
it will not occupy memory because it is temporary. Using new keyword, we are not creating object. Otherwise, it will create a memory also.
ओके सर, डेमो लिखना जरूरी रहेगा ना फिर सर.
Yes, yes, because this ref will have this type. This is our data type, which is class name. Because you can see this ob is also having this data type. Ultimately, class is used to create user different data types, which you might already aware about that. Fine, we are using the concept of class to make user different data type. So I can say this ob is a variable having demo data type. After all, object is also variable, but it is having demo data type. The way we write integer a, where I can say a is variable having integer data type, here I can say ob is variable having demo data type. तो यहाँ पे मैं ob लिखता हूँ, उसका डेटा टाइप है डेमो. तो उसको स्टोर करने के लिए यहाँ पे मैं जो लिखूँ उसका डेटा टाइप भी डेमो ही होना चाहिए. Integer will not work. Is it fine?
Yes sir.
Okay, great. So now if I write, let's say ref, if I write a equal to ref dot a, if I write b equal to ref dot b, what do you understand from these two statements? What do you understand?
ref a का वैल्यू a में स्टोर हो जाएगा.
Correct. So now can you tell me what is ref dot a, what it will give? See, what was ob?
100.
What was ob? ob was the address.
तो सर एड्रेस था.
ob ये एड्रेस था, हमने यहाँ पे लिखा है, देखो ये एड्रेस हो गया. या सो यहाँ पे मैं लिखता हूँ, यहाँ पे मैं ओबी पास करता हूँ, तो वो सेम एड्रेस यहाँ पे हुआ आरईएफ में,
हाँ
और यूजिंग द सेम एड्रेस आई एम ट्राइंग टू रिफर वेरिएबल ए, so ultimately it will refer the same value 100.
100 and 200 आएगा सर। हाँ
That 100 I am updating in the class variable. As of now it is 100. I am updating it. You can see I am updating this value. Fine. So again it will be 100 only. Same thing I am doing with b. B is ref.b, so it will be 200. So now I can say this variable a and b, which are class variable, will have the updated value same, which is 100, 200. But the only point is, now if I want to display it, if I will write,
सर दोनों की वैल्यू चेंज कर दीजिए ना, तो पता चलेगा कि रन हुआ कि नहीं।
that also I'm going to do. Yeah, you are right.
Okay.
Then and only
वो
then you
सर
will.
ए बी सेम ही लग रहा है।
Yeah, I will update it. As of now, if I will write like this, what do you think?
हाँ वही आएगा 100 और 200।
So here I'm trying to access it using OB1. Earlier I was trying to access it using OB. So ultimately I have copied the address and I will get the same address, same value. Let me see. You can see 100, 200, 100, 200. So what I have done, without invoking this constructor or without using this object, I have just copied the address and I am getting the same value. Are you getting this, or should I explain it again? Using
नहीं
different
सर
values?
पता चल गया।
सर
Everyone?
सर आप ए का वैल्यू बी में स्टोर कर दीजिए, बी का ए में कर दीजिए, तो पता चल जाएगा।
Sorry?
वहाँ पे REF
Yeah,
ए लिखा ना, वहाँ पे
that also we can do. Or let me just add the value. Let's say 100. यहाँ पे मैं 100 ऐड करता हूँ, यहाँ पे भी मैं 100 ऐड करता हूँ. Will it work?
यस।
See, in this case, what I'm doing, I'm just updating the value of A and B. You can see. 2 minutes में call करूँ. You can see I'm updating the value of A and B. Fine. So updated value will be stored in A and B. And here I'm trying to access it using OB1, where inside OB1 the copy is of OB. यहाँ पे OB का जो एड्रेस था वो OB1 का भी हो गया है, तो जो वैल्यू यहाँ पे अपडेट हो गई वो भी मैं इससे भी एक्सेस कर सकता हूँ, OB से भी एक्सेस कर सकता हूँ. लेट अस सी. देखो पहले वो 100 200 थी यूजिंग OB. Later on, by copying the address, I have updated the value. So now I am getting 200, 300. And same value, if I want to access it using OB, I write OB.A. What do you think? What will be the output?
100 आएगा। अब अभी तो सर 200, ओबी ए और ओबी बी के लिए 100 200।
हाँ लास्ट में 200 आएगा।
लास्ट में 200 आएगा।
हाँ ना सर, क्योंकि आप ओबी का ही चेंज कर।
आएगा।
एक मिनट सर, नहीं ओबी में भी चेंज हो जाएगा ना, सॉरी सर।
Okay.
200 300 फिर से लिखा आएगा।
This is the output which I am getting.
100 200 ही आया।
I was just confusing you. That's why.
नहीं सर,
हम
अगर
सही बोल
आपने
रहे हैं।
डेमो रेफ में चेंज किया 200 300, मतलब ऐड किया
See,
100 एंड 200, तो ओबी में
in
चेंज नहीं होना चाहिए।
in one statement only I can give the answer. I am just copying the address. I am not updating the address.
ओ हाँ हाँ वो भी है।
Fine. So यहाँ पे क्या होता है, अभी हमने जो किया वो क्या किया, earlier it was 1000, here it was 2000, तो यहाँ से एक कॉपी हमने 2000 में ले ली. So now this 2000 एड्रेस जो था पहले, वहां पे अब हो गया 1000. हमने ए एड्रेस चेंज कर दिया है जो पहले वाला था. इंस्टेड ऑफ 2000 आई हैव कॉपीड इट फ्रॉम हियर. तो अभी हम ऐसा बोल सकते हैं कि 1000 की दो कॉपी है, एक कॉपी यहाँ पे है, एक कॉपी यहाँ पे है. जो दूसरी कॉपी है वहां पे हमने वैल्यू अपडेट की है. एक की वैल्यू जो 10 है वो लेट से हमने 30 कर दी है, तो वो अपडेशन यहाँ पे ही होगा. यहाँ से 30 हो गई और यहाँ पे 40 हो गई फॉर एग्जाम्पल बी की वैल्यू. Fine. So now this is having different name. This is also having different name. Ultimately address is same, but name is different. This is OB. This is OB1. So whenever I will use OB, it will try to refer this block. whenever I will use OB1, it will try to refer this block. So that's why using OB1 I am getting updated value, and using OB I am getting the old value. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
So this is why you can see this output. Earlier it was 100, 200. Later on, by copying this value, we have updated the value. So I am getting 200, 300. But after updating the value, again I am going to refer the same object which I was referring earlier. So that's why I am getting 100, 200. So this is how it works. So in this case, we can say we have copied the value of OB into OB1. यहाँ पे जो OB की वैल्यू है वो हमने OB1 में कॉपी कर ली. Same example in next session, if I will get enough time, I will try to explain using parameterized constructor. As of now, I was using default. Now in this same concept in copy constructor only, in the next session I will try to pass something here. So we will use parameterized constructor and we will try to copy the value. So you will again understand it better than this. But still, so far I hope you understand this concept of copy constructor.
सर नीचे डेमो रेफरेंस के लिए लिया है ना जो डेमो रेफ,
Yes.
उधर
Yes.
सर अगर हम OB1 ही लिखेंगे तो चलेगा, डेमो OB1
यहाँ पे yes,
हाँ.
yes, it is perfect because it is local only, it is not permanent.
ओके सर.
So it will work. यहाँ पे जो OB की कॉपी है वो OB1 में चली जाएगी. यहाँ पे मैं OB1 लिखूंगा, यहाँ पे OB1 लिखूंगा. It will update the value, will store it A and B, and we can refer it. So it is fine.
ओके सर.
Yes, Meet.
सर A इज इक्वल टू रेफ आपने जो लिखा तो उसके बाद डॉट ए अगर आप ना लिखे तो क्या प्रिंट होगा सर? थोड़ी कंफ्यूजन आ रही है.
If I don't write dot A, it means this is address. Now it will not refer any value. REF means address.
हाँ मतलब एड्रेस होगा ना.
Yes, so this is not a valid way of addition. Address के साथ मैं 100 को ऐड नहीं कर सकता हूँ. Fine, REF will not point out any value. यहाँ पे जो एड्रेस है ना, ये demo@28F418FC ऐसा एड्रेस होगा यहाँ पे REF में. तो उस एड्रेस में मैं 100 ऐड कर सकता हूँ, लेकिन दिस इज नॉट अ वैलिड वे ऑफ एडिंग द वैल्यूज. उसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं. वो क्या होगा कि 100 ब्लॉक्स आगे चला जाएगा, लेकिन यहाँ पे जो ए की वैल्यू है वो अपडेट नहीं होगी, बिकॉज दिस इज नॉट रिफरिंग एनी वैल्यू. आर यू गेटिंग दिस?
हाँ सर समझ. हाँ सर समझ.
हमें कोई वेरिएबल एक्सेस करना है तो हम क्या करते हैं? वी नीड टू नो दैट वेरिएबल इज डिफाइंड इन व्हिच क्लास, एंड वंस वी नो दैट क्लास नेम, वी कैन क्रिएट द ऑब्जेक्ट ऑफ दैट क्लास. Using that object, we can access the value. So this is what same thing we are doing here. REF is the object of demo class. Now I want to refer the variables of demo class. So using REF, I can do it. REF.A, REF.B. If method is defined, let's say print, I can write REF.print. I can call it. Ultimately, this is object. Consider that this is OB3, so that you will get it correctly. I think this word is confusing you. But now I hope I have given the clear answer.
Yes sir.
Yeah, any more questions? Otherwise, same concept we will study with parameterized constructor also in the next session. So far, if you don't have any doubt, then I'm done.
सर इसमें दिस का यूज कैसे होता है?
This keyword we are yet to discuss, but
Okay.
as you have, but let me just explain you as you have given the answer. The only thing is, if I write, let's say 10,20, and to call the constructor, if I am using two parameters like this, now what is your view on this? If I print system.out.println A, what do you think? What will be the answer?
सर जो आर्गुमेंट में पास किया है वो 10 आएगा शायद.
देखो यहाँ पे 1020 है तो यहाँ पे 1020 चला जाएगा. Then I am trying to print the value of A. So will it refer this variable which is local, or will give 100? What do you think?
Local.
Local. My question is, I want to access this variable. I want to print 100 here. What should I do?
लोकल मतलब 10 आएगा, ऐसा बोल रहे हो?
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
See, here I will pass 1020. It will go here and it will print 10. Let me see. Let me just compile it. Okay.
सर वो नीचे रेफ.
ओके, यहाँ पे मुझे REF लिखना पड़ेगा. So you can say I'm getting 10. So now my question is, what if I want to display 100 here? Again, variable is same.
तभी this का यूज होगा, this dot है तो वो ऊपर का लेना.
Correct. So again, the use of this keyword I'm going to explain later on, because it is not having the only use of separating the variables. This keyword is having 3 different use that we are going to discuss. तो ये पहला वाला use है, जब class variables and local variables will have same name. In that case, to differentiate both the variables, you can use this keyword. So whenever I will write this dot a, it will always refer class variables. And if I
मतलब
write
सर a dot a नहीं लिखना होगा ना, उधर this dot.
this
ऐसा?
dot a, what does it mean? This dot a means I am going to refer this value, class variables. It will bifurcate this local variable. And if I write only a, in that case it will refer this local variable. Whatever value will be here, it will display the value. Are you getting this?
Yes sir.
Now if I write this dot a, then it will refer class variable and it will display 100. Let me execute it again. See, now I am getting 100. But for this keyword, separate topic is there, so don't worry, I am going to cover that also. That is why I was not discussing it. Otherwise, with copy constructor, this is very much useful, but as we have not discussed it, that's why I was just avoiding it. But this is the first use of this keyword, to differentiate local variables and class variables if both the variables are having same name. Otherwise, there is no problem. If I write C and D, then there is no problem. Now if I write A, what do you think? I don't need this keyword. Now if I try to print variable A, which is not local parameter, so it will check whether A is defined in class demo. Yes, if it is there, it will display the value. Let me compile it again. It will give 100, you can see. So if both the variables are different, then there is no point of discussion. We don't need this keyword. But if parameters which are local and class variables both are having same variables like this, then and only then it will create problem. Are you getting this point?
Yes.
Okay, then I'm about to end the session. You can join the next session. But meanwhile, if you have any doubt, then tell me. No doubts? Okay,
No,
then
sir.
then you can join the next session. Tomorrow we will discuss this copy constructor with parameterized, and then we will switch over to this keyword and other concept. Right? Bye bye. Take care, everyone.
Okay, bye, sir.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, sir.
Bye.